这应该已经隔天早上了。这几个还是一样的吗？好像还是一样。切换一下区域呢？哦，后面还有哎。6 Site06这边持有热武戒案破碎之神教会成员冲入，好像没有什么东西。77呢 ？SCP-067的艺术作品，艺术作品的巡展是什么东西？可以巡展吗？其中包含猕猴印象的艺术画。在逃机器人 SCP-2040 机器人在农场被发现。这一次的资料有目标是一个高23分、直径28公分的陶土罐，它是有机物，它是一个子宫，一个陶土子宫，可以被收容在保管箱中，开口就被惰性的铂丝配有机玻璃片遮盖。尸体的左边取了一个皮肤，捐献者在死亡前身体状况良好，样本在这里面放了2个月，培养出癌变的倾向。好像都是跟实验有关的。他已经没有再展现出任何的形状，被基金会评断为 SF 级。真的吗？有日文呢。目前收容所内的种植的竹苗是由1905年的日本阿玛库尼传说铸剑师金崎の小立除非当地有降雨，否则 SCP-143 应每天以大型的洒水系统喷洒2次。所以这是树吗？ SCP 是树。今明有3名的员工死于143，好可怕！刮起了一个风，就死了。SCP-261 的安全使用条例。可乐 Zero 啊，这个好像之前有看过，它好像是一个自动贩卖机吧？投钱就能够拿东西，而且好像是很安全的，还要插电源呢。百事可乐盘龙，有火龙果味的可口可乐，看起来超恶。低热量鬼魂。所以实验人员呢，还要吃里面跑出来的东西。看起来没了。3点55分了，应该是下午了吧？你在说什么？干嘛排挤我？每月讲座。崔佛博士在基金会里面人气颇高的，那就去吧。只有强制去而已。OK， 一起去。会议的提醒，马上就要进入培训课程吗？上次是哪里啊？下面是上次的吗？就是这一次的。哦，马上开始。他们的课程好像都是线上完成的，很符合现代呢。远距办公，所有事情呢都云端化。
There are many stories in this world. Some are read widely all over the world. Some are hidden in dust and known only by a handful of people. Today I'm going to tell you a story no one else has heard before. A real story of mystery and wonder and adventure. And then you too will become the guardian of this story. The story takes place in a world of long ago. The hero of our story is a little boy. His name is Daniel. One day, out of nowhere, Daniel got a serious case of chickenpox. It
呀，
made
风格
him
完全
look
不一
like a
样，
strawberry.
觉得有点可怕。
To make sure he didn't spread it to others, Mrs. Page, the principal, had him isolate in an attic. And so, in the attic he lived, all on his own.
Mr. Daniel, while up here in this attic, you'll have plenty of time to practice your penny whistle. I hope you practice well and prepare for next month's art festival.
But Mrs. Page, the melody is so difficult.
Don't give up, boy. You don't give up before you fight.
诶，从这边就要操作了吗？按 D， 换页吧。
Daniel was reluctant at first, but he trusted Mrs. Page, and he knew he should listen. And so he practiced
小
the
朋友未来
penny
有
whistle.
望啊，吹笛。这什么东西？这什么东西啦 ？ASDF Space， 这什么游戏啊？超怪的。而且音乐还没有对到那个节拍上，超难按。这有评分，啪啪。
Suddenly, he heard some strange noises in the corner of the attic.
Huh? Who's there?
Daniel decided to go over and
E.
take a look.
从这边开始应该会有点可怕哦。哦，这风格太赞了吧！我喜欢。Mousetrap，
It was a mouse trap, and there was a red origami paper dragon
龙耶。
inside of it.
而且还是纸。
Daniel carefully removed it. It was marvelous and beautiful.
好会折。
The only problem was part of its wing was damaged. But Daniel found a way to repair it.
哈，风格太怪了吧！使用道具来修补。道具的话，这什么东西啊？可以吗？哦，D。所以我应该没有
Daniel
选
held
错
the
咯。
repaired paper dragon high up in the air, imagining that it soared over all the world below. He played and played with the paper dragon.
天哪，你以为胃痛还没来吗？等一下马上就来了。该不会那个纸龙就是 SCP 吧？
In the warm afternoon sun, Daniel had to fight his eyelids just to keep them open.
Could it be? Or
龙有
is
生命了，
this all just
会不会？
a dream?
The next day, with boredom and loneliness weighing him down, he began to fiddle with the old radio.
Our town is located in the plains, where earthquakes are not particularly common. Although there are 17 fault zones around us, they are all inactive.
a scrunched up ball of paper rolled over to his feet.
都是跟纸有关。
Where did this paper ball come from?
Just as Daniel went to pick it up, the ball suddenly came to life, and it rolled away.
到底这个温馨的画风什么时候才要结束呢？又来了，那个纸球，哎呦，要怎么抓住呢？抓！哎，在哪里？在哪里？抓得住吗？重点，按什么键？哎呀，蹲下也不能。喂，哦，可以了。
Just as he was about to seize the rolling paper ball, suddenly, terrible sparks erupted from it.
要炸裂了吗？
Before his very eyes, the paper ball began to grow, bigger and bigger. At that moment, a red figure suddenly appeared. The red figure quickly subdued the paper ball and threw it into a cardboard box. Daniel studied the red figure carefully. It had a sticker on its fluttering wing.
这到底是什么温馨的故事啊？快看不下去了。
I wasn't dreaming. Thank you for saving me.
Daniel was grateful and very happy. He walked closer to the paper dragon, but the paper dragon seemed timid and afraid and backed away. Just then,
让我吹首歌给
Daniel
你
had
听
an。idea.
不要哦，不要哦！
He took out his penny whistle and slowly played a tune.
又要按了，烦躁。这边到底是怎样啊？玩的有点毛毛的耶。而且我讨厌的是有一些好像不在节拍上面，只能靠视觉了。我的 SCP 呢？
The paper dragon enjoyed the sound
还是我
very
玩错游
much.
戏了？
It began to
突然
move
强制
along
跳
with the
游戏。
rhythm, flipping up and down in the air. Soon the two were playing and dancing, just like old friends.
啊，它变回一团纸了吗？
The paper dragon traced out a beautiful arc in the air, communicating with Daniel in a unique way.
想说龙还蛮帅的。
My cherished friend.
好可怕，好可怕，那个声音好可怕。
Many long years, we finally meet again.
事隔多年，终于重逢了，朋友。你的族人最近状况怎么样呢？我的族人，人类吗？
You for playing
谢谢你的演奏，
music for me.
我喜欢你手中的乐器所发出的美妙音律。
The beautiful rhythm of that instrument.
现在的房间并不稳定，我们还需要多加防范，
As the room is not
果然开始说出一些奇怪的东西了。
Do you still
还记得怎么运作房间吗？
was
欢迎随时来访。
visit anytime?
The piece of paper then changed back into the shape of a paper dragon and flew into the cardboard box. The box closed shut, and a calm silence was restored to the attic. Daniel rushed to find a watercolor pen and marked the box with excitement in his
他要
fingertips.
写什么 ？Here be dragons.
Over the next few days, the paper dragon came out often to play with Daniel. During this time, Daniel introduced many of his friends to the paper
不行吧？
dragon.
该不会子龙会被碾碎？
That cat's name is Mrs. Carter. Ever since I secretly fed her some fish for dinner,
天哪，
we've
猫咪是
been
罪恶
good
之物啊！
That's Duke, Mrs. Jessica's pet. He doesn't like rainy days or Mrs. Carter. Only smoked sausages fit his taste. And now, we are friends too. My name is Daniel.
龙有
What's
名字
your
吗
name?
The paper dragon flapped its wings, as if it didn't understand him.
Well, since you like the sound of the penny whistle so much, why don't I just call you Penny? I'll keep practicing to make it sound better.
Daniel and Penny then played baseball together in the attic.
Let's play cat.
按一序列，那这是什么游戏啊？好可爱哦！以前有养狗的时候也会这样玩，但蛮累的，要带去比较空旷的地方。
But just as they were in the middle of enjoying themselves, a violent shaking
Whoa.
suddenly rose from the ground.
喵！
The stubborn earthquake is back at it, folks, and it seems even
地
stronger
震
than
好像
last
也是什么
time.
现象啊？
At this moment, the box suddenly shot open, and
是那个
thick
纸球。
clouds of smoke billowed out, followed by several paper balls.
又丢进去，
Penny attacked the paper balls without a moment's hesitation and promptly threw them back into the box. Penny then flew around in front of Daniel and rushed right back into the box. As the box closed, the earthquake stopped. Facing a friend's farewell without a formal goodbye, Daniel felt confused and lost.
音乐转喽。
He moved the box to the center of the attic. Facing it, he practiced his penny whistle, day in and day out. As the days went by, Daniel's playing became smoother.
不要再叫我吹喽，ダメよ。
One day, the box suddenly began
啊
to，
但
move.
是是紫色的跑出来耶，不是龙。 哦，该不会那是蛋吧？
2, 3, 4. This time there were 4 paper dragons. But they weren't alone. Enemies began to jump out of the
到底是
box
什么剧
too.
情？
Earthquake! Another earthquake! This time it's reached a magnitude of 5.8!
In that small attic, the 4 paper dragons fought fiercely against the paper balls. This time, the paper balls used new tactics. They clumped together into a single monstrous ball of paper. It began to shoot strong bursts of electric sparks at the paper dragons as they flew through the air. As they were hit, the paper dragons fell from the air, one after the other. Seeing the injured paper dragons, Daniel felt very distressed and anxious. Just then, one of the paper dragons painfully started to fly and gathered the remainder of its
到
power.
底？
The paper dragon transformed into a great beam of light and dove straight down to pierce through the monstrous paper ball. And then came another paper dragon. The monstrous paper ball was blasted to bits, exploding into smaller paper balls. Trembling, they struggled to escape back into the box. The sacrificed paper dragons were reduced to swirling shreds of paper, and a silence pervaded. Peace and tranquility were restored once again to the attic. Daniel saw the remaining 2 paper dragons lying on the floor, badly wounded. He rushed to grab some stickers and treated them at once.
啊嘞，跑出来了，轻轻的止血，慢慢的抚平，贴上贴纸，好快，动作一次到位。
Suddenly, countless paper dragons began to gush from the box. The 2 wounded paper dragons were repaired and began to fly. Like 2 colored threads, they merged with the other dragons, flying in unison. The dragons moved like a tide, flying freely through the attic. Daniel eagerly took out his penny whistle. He showed all his paper dragon friends the results of his hard work and practice.
再吹一次，莫意哦。还好没有吹很久。还有，我觉得这一集啊，大家可以尽可能的加速了。该不会在那边吹错啊，然后龙超生气，直接干掉我？也不无可能啊。希望看到这么残酷的一幕。
In the sweet melody of his playing, Daniel felt himself enter into the world of dragons.
还有下去啊！哦，这里感觉我可以动哦，还不行动。是真的龙，所以我该不会被困到这个纸盒的世界里了吧？我一直在想啊，就从很可怕的角度去思考啊。难道是我自己变龙？
The paper dragons merged into a long letter and floated down towards Daniel to tell their story.
After the last war,
幻界
the fantasy world enjoyed a long spell of peace and stability. But now,
还没结束，巨人该不是真的超大矩阵吧？9级的。
launched ferocious attacks, trying to invade your world through the room. We are prepared to launch the final defense.
好，
We will have to destroy your room, for it is the last remaining entry
摧毁我们的房间。
into your world. Please believe.
房间是指那个箱子吗？
Will only be temporary. We will not be apart forever, and we will never forget our eternal mission of protecting you.
At that moment, the paper dragons flew back into the box. Daniel still couldn't fully understand what the paper dragons had meant, but he had a vague feeling in his heart that he may never see his new friends again. A few days later, Daniel's chickenpox had fully recovered. He could now play the penny whistle very, very well. But the paper dragons never returned.
装入背包，装什么东西啊？笛子吗？应该都收进去就好了。所以他要离开阁楼了哦。
Maybe it was time to leave and move on.
Earthquake warning! Magnitude 6.2! A massive earthquake is hitting our town! All townspeople, please leave your houses immediately and move to safe open spaces!
Boom!
Just then,
好
countless
无聊的
paper
剧情。
dragons shot from the cardboard box. However, it seemed like they were under attack, spinning and falling through the air in confusion.
What's happening?
Daniel quickly grabbed the stickers out from his bag
全力治
and
疗，
did his best to heal the injured
我要工作了吗？
dragons.
全力工作，快快快快！失去太多只了吧？可能来不及。哎，有人会消失。好多好多哦！已经搞不懂我在玩什么游戏了。这是 SCP 吗？不过啊，既然会说 Secret Files， 代表说应该是有很多类型的故事才对。但这也太特别了。哇，满出来了！绝世大地震。
Paper balls swarmed together and pushed Daniel away, subduing him firmly in the corner. He couldn't move. Suddenly, ominous clouds rose from the box, and a violet lightning flashed through the room. The figure of a giant slowly emerged from the thick clouds, and the entire attic became overwhelmed with its evil aura.
The earthquake is growing stronger! Now with a magnitude of 7.1! Heaven almighty! Are we doomed?
The giant unleashed its power maniacally. The paper dragons struggled against it, with no means of fighting back. At this critical moment, two paper dragons shined brilliantly. Together, they heroically crashed their bodies into the giant. Daniel thought the giant had been defeated by the paper dragons, but soon he found that things would probably not be so simple. The giant's figure could still be seen in the thick smoke, looking evil and terrible. The attacks of the paper dragons had had no effect, and the giant had only grown stronger. It fought back with a new ferocity. The paper dragons were simply no match for it.
The earthquake is going stronger still! The greatest disaster this town has seen in over 100
哇，
years!
看到那个地震，能想到最近的地震也是好频繁哦。
Never end!
With the paper dragons now all but defeated, Daniel spotted a frail figure in the
就
distance.
最早的那只龙
It，was Penny. It flew gently in front of Daniel and
咦，
affectionately rubbed its head against his fingers, as if this whole
我在吸
crisis
血吗？
had never
吸血
happened.
获得更强大的力量。
Daniel felt like Penny was trying to tell him something, but he didn't quite understand what. Penny then left Daniel and soared into the air with a determination in its wings. Suddenly, the other paper dragons seemed to be summoned. They flew through the air, all together in unison, responding to the call without an ounce of hesitation. At that moment, Penny turned into a great red beam and rushed fast towards the giant. The other dragons followed, shining together like a shooting star. At that moment, Daniel seemed to see a real dragon flying.
No!
A huge explosion from the impact drowned out everything else in the attic. The attic rained down with countless pieces of paper, the leftover scraps of the paper dragons. Daniel wanted to collect all of the pieces. He thought he could still fix them.
无数的纸片啊！纸片要怎么收集呢？收，一堆纸片。有漏收掉的话呢，可能无法到下一个剧情。而且也很难看。都有收到吗？哦，可以耶。这是拼贴吧？是吗？是拼贴吗？应该是哦。拼贴啊，要放在角落。好了，纸是完成了啦。哦
Goodbye, my friend.
轰隆隆。
The nightmare is over. The earthquake has stopped. With God's mercy, our town is safe. We thank you, Lord, for your protection.
A few days later, the art festival was held as scheduled. Daniel attended the show with his penny whistle.
And now, Daniel Trevor will
莫
perform
伊
a
哟，不想再吹了，我快受不了了
of！a song titled "Fly with Me."
不要啊！虽然是点变第一人称了，不要再叫我演奏了，拜托！哦，好歹这一次难度高一点吧。哦，按错了，可能是已经看不下去了吧。好了，来解释一下吧。我在意 SCP 在哪里？而且现在声音好大声，人声好小声。哦，那果然是 SCP 之一啊。
Somewhere in this world, just like they promised they would, forever into
但故事
eternity.
真的有点无聊，太乏味了。这已经纯粹是看剧情而已。好，我觉得今天先到这里好了。 这个最后的实在是不大行诶，可能跟我想象中的游戏方式不大一样吧，看得超乏味的。如果能够再用比方说之前的那种试点来看的话，或许会有趣一点啊。不过今天先到这里好了。好的，那今天的影片在这边先告一个段落，我们下一集见，拜拜。